a story about a beautiful woman who gets trapped in a mirror and can only watch helplessly as her boyfriend gets intimate with another woman, but eventually escapes in a miraculous way. The movie begins on a dark, stormy night. The protagonist, Adrian, watches a video left by his girlfriend Belen a few days ago, tears in his eyes. In the video, Belen says that she feels their arguments have been increasing recently and maybe they are not suitable to live together. She decides to leave quietly on her own. Adrian doesn't understand why Belen made this decision and can't comprehend why she left with just a video message. He keeps reminiscing about their beautiful past, unable to accept the fact that his beloved girlfriend has left him like this. He drove to a bar in the city, sitting alone by the window, drinking one glass after another in solitude. The bartender, Elena, who served him, couldn't help but feel a mix of affection and curiosity when she saw Adrian's handsome yet melancholic appearance. She couldn't resist glancing at him a couple more times. Before they knew it, it was closing time at the bar. A heavily drunk Adrian pulled out a wad of cash to pay the bill. He stumbled out and accidentally bumped into a passerby. A disagreement quickly escalated into a fight, and Adrian was pinned to the ground and beaten up. Elena, who was also leaving work, saw Adrian in a miserable state and decided to take him back to her apartment. Adrian ended up sleeping on Elena's couch for the night. The next morning, he woke up with little memory of the previous night's events. He gave Elena a brief greeting and hurriedly left without even saying thank you. Elena watched Adrian's departing figure with a sense of inexplicable loss. However, Adrian returned to the bar in the evening. Elena was very angry about his cold attitude in the morning and didn't want to talk to him. But Adrian took her hand and apologized for his rudeness earlier. He said he came to thank her. Seeing his sincere eyes, Elena's anger began to subside. Adrian then invited her to the opera house, introducing himself as the conductor of the orchestra. They talked a lot about their understanding of art. Elena, who already had a good impression of him, found herself admiring him even more. Suddenly, their eyes met, and the atmosphere turned a bit romantic. Adrian leaned in to kiss Elena. She hesitated for a moment, then passionately responded. That night, they went back to Adrian's villa and spent a night full of passion. The next morning, Elena woke up and put on a shirt in front of the mirror. She glanced back at the sleeping Adrian with a satisfied smile. Adrian was handsome, wealthy, and talented, living in such a luxurious villa. He fulfilled all her fantasies of a perfect boyfriend. Elena then went to the bathroom to freshen up but heard a strange noise from under the sink. She frowned, feeling something was off. She lifted her hair and bent down to listen, but the strange noise disappeared. She didn't pay much attention to it and continued freshening up. Afterward, Elena wandered around the villa. Elena discovered some belongings left by Adrian's ex-girlfriend Belen. Curious, she picked them up to take a look. At that moment, Adrian suddenly appeared and called out to her, somewhat flustered, inviting her to join him for breakfast in the yard. Elena happily agreed and affectionately linked arms with Adrian. Adrian, however, took a deep look back at Belen's belongings. After breakfast, they planned to meet again in the evening for another passionate date. However, as Elena was leaving for work, 2 police officers arrived, stating they needed to investigate the disappearance of Adrian's ex-girlfriend, Belen. They had confirmed with immigration that Belen had no record of leaving the country, suggesting she might have met with foul play. Reluctantly, Adrian agreed to let the officers search the villa. Elena, who was initially very happy and content, was puzzled and questioned Adrian about what was going on. Adrian, looking somber, explained that his girlfriend Belen had left him. Elena stared at Adrian and asked if he wasn't worried that she might have been kidnapped or something else. Adrian immediately interrupted her, saying it was impossible and that he could feel she was fine, then turned and left. In the evening, Adrian plays the piano alone in the villa's hall. Elena, looking seductive, leans on the second-floor railing and calls him to bed. Adrian understands her intent and says he'll join her soon. Elena smiles, turns, and starts running a hot bath. However, just as she was enjoying her leisure time, she suddenly noticed something unusual. Despite there being no wind in the room and her not moving, ripples appeared on the surface of the bathtub water. Elena was terrified and quickly jumped out of the bathtub to find Adrian. At that moment, a thunderclap sounded outside, and the villa suddenly lost power, plunging into darkness. Elena screamed and turned around, bumping into Adrian, who had rushed over. Adrian gently comforted her and then carried her to the bed, ready to discuss life. However, Elena noticed that the dog in the villa was constantly lying in front of the bedroom mirror, so she unhappily asked Adrian to get rid of the dog. Adrian agreed. The scene shifts to the young policeman who came to the villa to investigate that day. He finds Elena at a bar. It turns out he is Elena's ex-boyfriend. The young policeman warns her that Adrian's ex-girlfriend, "Don't you find it strange that you're living with him? He's a suspect." Elena coldly replies that she doesn't find anything strange. Being a suspect doesn't mean he's guilty. The young policeman, clearly displeased, sarcastically says, "Well, congratulations on finally finding a rich man. Much better than me, a salaried cop." Elena also openly admitted, "You're right, I do like him because he's rich." After coming home from work in the evening, Elena decided to take a shower instead of using the bathtub. However, something strange happened again. Even though she had set the water to the right temperature, it suddenly turned scalding hot several times, burning her shoulder. She also, just as she was feeling inexplicably scared, her dog burst in. Elena breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the sound she heard was just her dog. She quickly dried herself off. While waiting bored in the bedroom for Adrian to return, Elena suddenly noticed something shiny in the drain. She took it out and found it was a key on a chain. Finding it quite unique and matching her style, she wore it around her neck. Just then, a thunderclap sounded outside, and the villa lost power again, plunging everything into darkness. The strange noise from the pool sounded again. Elena was very scared. She grabbed a shelf and cautiously went downstairs to check. She was startled by a dog and fainted. The scene shifts to Elena waking up to find Adrian has returned. She immediately frowns and starts recounting the bizarre and eerie events that occurred in the villa, demanding that Adrian never leave her alone there again. Adrian, however, just smiles and explains that the power outage was due to the thunderstorm and the strange noises were probably just the wind blowing through the pipes. He advises her not to be overly sensitive, but Elena firmly believes her intuition is correct and that something is definitely wrong in the villa. The next day, after a passionate and sweet moment together, Adrian suddenly received a call from the police. They informed him that they had found a charred female body that resembled his ex-girlfriend Belen. They asked Adrian to come and identify the body. Adrian was in disbelief, but after some hesitation, he went to the forensic center. At the forensic center, after taking one look at the unrecognizable charred body, Adrian immediately told the police that it was not his ex-girlfriend Belen.
Fue imposible identificarla.
He asked again to confirm, and Adrian impatiently clarified that it was definitely not his ex, Belen. Then he drove home. However, as soon as he returned home and entered the villa, he heard Elena in the bathroom on the second floor talking to someone. The bookshelf was in disarray, so he went upstairs to ask Elena what was going on. Elena, who was staring at the mirror in the bathroom, was startled by Adrian's sudden return. Her eyes were a bit evasive, and she changed the subject by asking Adrian if the body was Belen's. Adrian, with reddened eyes and a choked voice, replied that it wasn't her. After a pause, he continued, "But I don't care anymore." Elena laughed, gently kissed Adrian and said, "I love you," then hugged him. They embraced each other, but Elena's gaze was fixed on the mirror behind them. As the camera zoomed in, a distorted face appeared in the mirror. It was Belen, Adrian's mysteriously missing ex-girlfriend. Rewind to a few months ago in Spain, when Adrian and Belen were still deeply in love. They lived together in a seaside apartment, sometimes cycling around for fun, sometimes cooking together at home, enjoying a simple yet happy life. One day, Adrian was selected by the classical orchestra in Bogotá, Colombia, and had to leave Spain for a year. He expressed his hope that Belen would give up her job as a designer and go with him to Colombia. After much contemplation, Belen finally decided to give up her career for her boyfriend, and in Bogotá, Adrian earned the admiration of everyone in the orchestra with his exceptional professionalism and personal charm. He also won the hearts of countless audiences. Watching her lover conduct on stage with such grace, Belen felt proud and deeply believed that giving up her own career for him was worth it. To provide Adrian with a better environment for his artistic creation, she rented a villa in the suburbs from an elderly German lady. The price was very favorable, with the only condition being that they take care of the lady's dog. Belen readily agreed, and thus, she and Adrian moved into the villa. Belen also started contacting several local factories to set up a studio in the villa, planning to revive her career by creating her own brand. Everything seemed to be going well, but reality was different. Belen caught Adrian and a violinist from the orchestra alone together. Her sharp intuition sensed something was wrong. After a passionate moment, she checked Adrian's phone while he was in the shower. She found numerous calls and suggestive messages between him and the violinist.
Belen was heartbroken.
She never imagined that after giving up her career and life to accompany this man to South America, he would betray her once he became successful. In the following days, Adrian didn't notice Belen's change in mood, thinking she was just upset about work. Belen couldn't take it anymore and confronted Adrian, revealing everything. A hint of panic crossed Adrian's face as he dismissively claimed that his relationship with the violinist was merely ambiguous and had no real development. He even said, "If you're worried, I can fire her." Belen agreed, saying, "Fine, then fire her." Adrian hesitated and then said, "No, I can't just fire her like that." Belen gave a cold laugh, turned her head away, and after Adrian left, she began to sob quietly. In the afternoon, the German landlady of the villa visited Belen. She was about to fly out of Bogotá back to Europe. With no friends in Bogotá, Belen poured out all her troubles to her. She expressed her fears about suddenly disappearing or leaving unexpectedly and wondered how Adrian would react. The German lady then revealed a secret about the villa to Belen. It turns out that the German lady's husband had built a secret room in this villa. The secret room has only one entrance, which is the bedroom mirror. The bedroom mirror and the bathroom mirror are actually one-way glass. From the outside, they look like ordinary mirrors, but from the inside, they are glass that allows you to observe the outside. The secret room is fully equipped with a toilet, a hand-cranked generator, bedding, and other daily necessities. It also has excellent soundproofing, designed entirely for wartime shelter. The German lady gave the key to Belen. She suggested that if she wanted to see Adrian's reaction after her sudden disappearance, she could hide in the secret room for a few days and observe through the one-way glass and speaker. Belen happily took the key and started her plan as soon as the German lady left. She first recorded a farewell video, then packed all her belongings and moved into the secret room. She waited by the window. After a while, Adrian's car drove into the villa yard. Belen quickly left a note and hurriedly ran into the secret room, closing the door behind her. When Adrian returned home, he noticed all of Belen's personal belongings were gone. A sense of dread filled his heart. He then found her farewell video, leaving him bewildered and unsure of what to do. He sat on the edge of the bed, eyes red and face in his hands, overcome with sorrow. After a while, Adrian, who had calmed down a bit, picked up the flowers and stood up. Looking at himself in the mirror, he felt very guilty for losing his girlfriend and threw the flowers at the mirror. Behind the one-way mirror, Belen listened to his confession through the intercom in the secret room. She was very pleased with his reaction and realized her importance in his heart. She then prepared to unlock the door and leave the room. However, she suddenly discovered something terrifying. The key was missing. It turned out that when Belen hurried into the secret room, the key had fallen into the bedroom drain. Belen was now dumbfounded. The secret room was completely soundproof, and no matter how much she shouted, it was useless. The one-way bulletproof glass couldn't be broken, and there was no cell signal here. The only other person who knew about the secret room was the German lady who had already returned to her country. She had no choice but to rummage through the boxes, only to find some belongings left by the German lady's husband. It turns out her husband was a Nazi officer, and this secret room was built after World War II to evade Israeli agents. Inside the cabinet, there were some spoiled cans. Belen opened one and tasted it, but the rotten smell made her vomit into the toilet. When she turned on the faucet to rinse her mouth, she found that the water was rusty. The only useful item was a can opener, which she could use to slowly dig through the walls of the secret room. However, the bad news didn't end there. A few days later, Adrian went to a bar to drown his sorrows and met Elena. He quickly moved on from his heartbreak and brought Elena back to the villa for a passionate night. Meanwhile, Belen, trapped in the secret room and surviving on rusty water and smelly canned food, could only watch through the mirror as her beloved man explored life and love with another woman. To make matters worse, the loudspeaker clearly transmitted the sounds of their passionate moments. She was on the verge of collapse and felt utterly hopeless. However, the secret room wasn't completely cut off from the outside world. Belen discovered that when she tapped on the pipes, ripples would form in the bathroom sink. When she vented her anger by shouting at the bathroom mirror, Elena could faintly hear. That day, Elena was scalded by hot water while showering. It was Belen who deliberately turned on the hot water valve in the secret room. That same night, Elena found the key to the secret room that Belen had left behind. Belen, watching from behind the one-way mirror, was thrilled. If Elena could connect the key to the villa's secret, Belen could get out. But Elena just wore it as a necklace pendant. Belen's rekindled hope was shattered. The next day, Adrian received a call from the police to identify a body at the forensic center. Elena wandered alone in the villa, unaware that Belen was trapped behind the bedroom mirror. She was puzzled by the strange occurrences in the villa. Despite Adrian's repeated assurances that she was overthinking, she still sensed that things were not that simple. As Elena was lost in thought, she absent-mindedly tossed the apple core into the pool, causing ripples to spread across the water. Seeing this, Elena was immediately reminded of the mysterious ripples in the bathtub that day. She quickly ran to the bathroom, filled the sink with water, and said, "Start," to the mirror. In the secret room, Belen heard Elena's words and immediately understood, picking up a stick to tap on the pipes in response. When Elena saw the ripples, she shouted stop, and Belen ceased tapping, causing the water to become still again. Elena was shocked, realizing her suspicion was correct. However, unsure if it was a supernatural event, they tried asking a few yes or no questions. Belen tapped the pipes, causing ripples on the water's surface in response. Eventually, Elena confirmed that there was a secret room in the villa. Inside the room was Adrian's mysteriously missing ex-girlfriend, Belen. Adrian was completely unaware of this, and the key around Elena's neck was the only way to open the secret room. Elena then started to recall how the dog. She boldly guessed that the secret room was behind the mirror. Belen confirmed this by tapping on the pipes. Elena began searching around the mirror and discovered a hidden compartment by tapping on the bookshelf. She finally found the keyhole to the secret room's mechanism. She took the key from around her neck and inserted it into the keyhole. On the other side, Belen was thrilled. Although she couldn't see Elena's actions in front of the bookshelf, she clearly heard the hidden compartment open and the key being inserted into the lock. Belen couldn't contain her excitement. After being trapped for so long, she could finally step out and see the light of day again. However, the next moment, she heard the sound of the key being pulled out. Confused, she saw Elena come to the bathroom mirror and softly say sorry as she drained the water from the sink. Belen felt a chill run down her spine, realizing that Elena, who knew the secret, feared losing Adrian and didn't want her to come out. Elena had just drained the water from the sink. She heard Adrian coming home downstairs. She tried hard to hide her nervousness and changed the topic, acting affectionate with Adrian in front of Belen. On the other side of the mirror, Belen was filled with grief and anger. She had already lost hope. Previously, no one knew she was trapped here. Now, someone was deliberately trying to keep this secret hidden forever. However, Elena wasn't truly that heartless. Locking a girl her own age in a secret room forever tormented her deeply. Even though she moved her bedroom to another room to avoid facing that mirror, she still couldn't find peace. A few days later, Elena, who was feeling guilty, wanted to check on Belen, who was trapped. Taking advantage of Adrian's absence, Elena went to the bathroom again and filled the sink with water. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no response. She panicked and turned on the shower, releasing a lot of hot water. Then, she wrote words on the foggy mirror, trying to communicate with Belen, but still got no response. Could something have happened to Belen in that dark, windowless room? Is she already dead? Elena didn't dare to continue guessing. If that were the case, she would be indirectly responsible for a death. The next morning, Adrian went to work at the theater as usual. Elena's ex-boyfriend, a young police officer, visited her and handed her an envelope. When Elena opened it, she found a stack of photos showing Adrian having an affair with the violinist from the orchestra. She was devastated. She had thought she had found the perfect man. To maintain this relationship, she had even cut off Belen's escape route in the secret room. But now she discovered that Adrian was a serial cheater. It seemed that Adrian had been secretly having an affair with the violinist even when he was with Belen. Thinking of this, Elena made a decision. She took out the key, went to the study, found the hidden compartment, and opened the secret room. In the dim, foul-smelling chamber, a weak Belen lay on the bed in the corner, her life or death uncertain. Elena hurried to the bedside, calling out to Belen in an attempt to wake her. However, as soon as she leaned in close, Belen suddenly opened her eyes, grabbed a bottle, and knocked her out. From the secret room, Belen observed all of Elena's movements through the one-way glass. However, she didn't know if this cruel woman had come this time to release her out of conscience, or to kill her to eliminate any future threats. So, Belen hid a wine bottle and pretended to be dead, looking for a chance to strike back. Holding the key, Belen walked out of the secret room and locked Elena inside. After being away from sunlight for so long, she felt as if she was in a different world when she saw the bright sun. At that moment, the landline phone received a message. The German lady had passed away in Germany, and her family wanted to sell the villa. Belen ignored it, tidied up a bit, placed the key on the bedside table, and stuck a photo of herself and Adrian on the mirror before quietly leaving. On the other side, Adrian, who was unaware of the events unfolding in the villa, perhaps wanting to change his ways and fearing that Elena might leave him like Belen did, decided to end his affair with the violinist. The violinist was disappointed, but accepted it. However, when Adrian returned home, he found that Elena was also missing. Guided by his dog, he discovered the key to the secret room. Then, he noticed a photo in the final scene. Belen returns to Spain. She stands on a beach, holding a handful of slipping sand, gazing sadly at the distant sunset. Meanwhile, Elena slowly awakens in the darkness, realizing she is trapped in a lightless secret room. The film ends. The movie, The Hidden Face, not only features attractive actors and bold scenes, but also has a suspenseful plot that keeps you on the edge of your seat. The open-ended conclusion has sparked much discussion among viewers. Today, I'll share some of my personal thoughts on it. Most viewers believe that Adrian, the male lead, knew about the secret room and that Belen was trapped inside. He pretended not to know and left her there to fend for herself. Evidence for this viewpoint includes Adrian saying good luck to the mirror after watching the video several times. Adrian takes Elena home to discuss life and deliberately holds her in front of the mirror, showing off and staring at it. Additionally, Adrian's unusual reaction when the police visit to search the villa and his firm assurance to Elena that Belen is not in danger. Most importantly, when Adrian identifies the body at the forensic center, he only takes one look and says it's not Belen. Of course, some viewers believe this is just overinterpretation. They think the director created these misleading scenes in the first half of the film to highlight the twist in the second half, making the audience suspicious of Adrian and creating a suspenseful atmosphere. When I first watched the film, I didn't quite agree with the first theory. The obvious flaw in the first theory is, how did Adrian know about the secret room? It's hard for an average person to deduce that this villa has a secret room just from the video showing Belen wearing a key necklace and the ripples on the water surface. However, after watching it a second time, I had some thoughts. Adrian must have known about the secret room and that Belen was inside it. There's a detail here. The German lady told Belen she would call her from Germany before she left. But Belen was locked in the secret room afterward. So, it's likely that Adrian answered the call from the German lady. We can reasonably guess the content of their conversation. The German lady asked for Belen, and Adrian told her that Belen was missing and that he had already reported it to the police. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, the German lady mentioned the secret room. Adrian then understood everything, watched the video a few more times, noticed the key necklace on Belen's chest, and said good luck to the mirror. Pay attention to this, everyone. The German lady and Adrian only knew that Belen was in the secret room, but they didn't know that Belen had lost the key. From Adrian's perspective, it seemed like Belen was throwing a tantrum and hiding in the secret room to play a disappearing act. Through the mirror, he could see her feeling sad and anxious, but she held onto the key and didn't come out, seemingly enjoying the joke. So, Adrian started to get back at Belen, even bringing Elena in front of the mirror to passionately make out, just to see how long Belen could stay inside without coming out. This also explains why he was so convinced that Belen was fine. A few days ago, he was clearly so sad and upset, but suddenly he quickly got involved with Elena. As for whether Elena can be saved in the end, if my interpretation is correct, Adrian saw the key and realized that Belen had already come out. Although he doesn't know what happened, he will most likely take the key and check out the secret room. This way, he can rescue Elena trapped inside.